Good evening, traders. This is Krishna Joshi here with 7 Points Capital and bringing you today's trader takeaways. Uh, Quite an interesting day today, especially after yesterday's sell-off. SPY's open cap up, and all of this seems to be like just bought up. So buy the dip, gets taken up. Even though we know we expect some sort of retaliation from China with regards to the trade tariffs, you still see like a lot of buying in the markets, and it's probably everyone just wants to put their money to work because GDP forecast is pretty good and earning season coming up. So that is what I feel should give us the next idea what the new range in SPY should be. But in the meantime, today was very whipsaw day in SPY. Um, Opens up big sell-off, and look at that. We made the low of the day by 9:48, and then just we made a high of the day pretty much at 4 o'clock. So overall, a very whipsaw day because this is where Secretary Mnuchin started uh, his congressional hearing, which is where I was stuck short. I think right around here where I felt like it's coming up. I can risk a little bit above the highs of the day and then get a double top reversal and then sell off into the low of the day. I did get stopped out here and then it just kept drifting higher all day. I I couldn't for some reason stay long or like buy these dips into the strength. Rather, I was looking at these resistance levels and then looking to go short against those and looking for those really tight risk reward setups all throughout. Even in the end, I was looking for those tight setups while I was risking a few cents and I could get these big whipsaws, uh, big drop down. So I did catch a few of them. This was one of the losing trades. So I'll show you quickly the execution done SPY, showing you the 2 minute chart because I tried changing time intervals before and then the sterling just kept crashing and I couldn't. I had to restart all of it again. Um, so this was my first trade, stuck short around the 278.30 area, trying to. Uh, this was my price target. I was risking about this. With this, I ended up taking a little bit of loss, like 5-7 cents bigger than I was expecting on the trade. My stop was 53. I ended up getting 58, 59, 60. That's because this was a big spike up in SPY when Secretary Mnuchin was talking on. So once it came up on TV, this was just straight up. So this is what I was talking about. Couple of trades where I felt like it's getting tired, getting exhausted, doesn't want to go up anymore. That's what I started doing, risking a little bit about this, half about this, and then I'd get a big uh, drawdown and I'll just quickly take it in. A similar thing here. I was risking 15 cents here at 279. Stop was I think 279, 13 and 17, and I ended up taking a quick 30 cent pop on that, 30 cent dip on that. So I wasn't really looking for home runs because now that I look at the big picture, even though it was gradually up, but I don't think if I was long any of these, I would have been confident enough. So that was one of the reasons why I wasn't looking to go long SPY intraday. Um, and especially I wasn't seeing a lot of strength in the stocks that I was watching. I was watching the airlines yesterday. Um, so DAL announced earnings today, so I was watching Delta and American today specifically, and I wasn't seeing a lot of strength in those stocks. So I ended up pretty much just shorting, trying to catch tops on SPYs, taking a few cents here and there, a couple of break-even trades. But again, that 279 held, and I knew I wasn't risking all the way up here because this was more like a feeler trade. Let me see how this wants to go. And at the same time, just gonna cover right around here into the previous support area of 278.80. So I ended up working out a few scratch trades here and there, about 3 or 4 scratch trades. That's a little more than usually I have, but wasn't very convincing SPY trading for me personally. Let's jump on to a good trade. Was this company had news in the morning, CNTF, and so the daily on this one was really interesting, where the stock's been doing absolutely nothing for a few months, for the last few years, in fact. It did do a reverse split, I think, earlier, but so the stock's been just stuck in this 350 area for a long time. Today we get that dip. Today we get that huge spike up. Look at that. So 350, all of those bag holders from the 350 area. I was looking at a good risk reward setup where it would get exhausted and would want to be and it would want to give up those gains on the day, where people would be profit booking, and then obviously the short sellers come in. So this is what I was looking for, waiting for those entries. I did end up missing out the short at 390, but again, I wasn't really, this would have been a much better entry. So instead of chasing it here, I had to let it settle down because I ended up missing out on one of those entries. So I ended up shorting it, covering for a little bit, just putting out feeler orders, whether there's enough liquidity on both sides, and then got a good spike down, shorted the 37s, ended up covering in the low threes, below 3 for the other half, and then once it set up again at 310, got a little bit of position and then covered into 295s. So a decent winner, I would say, given I could have got much more on the stock, but instead of chasing and not really knowing where I was going to risk, so instead of getting the 360s and 50s and risking 410, I had to let the stock form a new range and get involved after that. So CNTF, the strategy here was seeing a lot of bag holders from the 350 area. I think weekly was much better. Yeah, so you can see the 350, so many spikes into the 350. So all of these times when you had massive volume and all these bag holders who got stuck thinking that it's going to be a breakout, and people who are just long waiting for a jackpot or a lottery, when they see that the stock is at 170 and gaps up to $4, they are gonna get out for sure. And that's what I was trying to take advantage of. Ended up being a decent winner. The idea again on this was leave it alone once the trade was over. Had this made a new low, maybe I would have still watched it for the next hour or so, but a lot of these stocks, the volume just dies out, especially because it's a slow week. Once the banks announce earnings on Friday, and then a lot more other companies into next week, that's when we'll see volume coming back. And up until then, the idea is just take what it gives you. And this was a good stock as well. I watch it on one of my swing positions. As a swing stock, I've been watching ZGNX for a while. So this is when it had a good positive news on the approval of drug, and then today they came out with epilepsy, a follow-up positive data on how the drug has been doing. So for some reason, I did feel like we have a prior momentum on the upside. So there are not a lot of short sellers in this one. There are a lot of these swing guys who already know that the company's been doing good. The company raised capital, did secondary offering, but never dipped into the 28 or 30 area. So which was another thing that I was noticing, like all throughout the last 6 to 8 months, I had an idea back of my mind that this is what the stock's been doing. The stock has been at the top of the range, and today it just caps up massive. So this is where it opens like right around 55, just pushes straight into 60 pre-market, and then we are actually opening around the 56 57 50 area, which was more like a spot where it could have been a 50-50 for me at once, like to begin with. So I wasn't really going all in with my size, but I let the first move get into 58, and that quickly just came right back down. So that's where I got involved on the short side, just below 57. The liquidity, the spread was about 15-20 cents, so I couldn't get my full size. So you can see a few chases, like 10-15 cents. I had to chase it down to get my full size, and had a good cover into the 55 area, 55.20, 55.30, which was the pre-market support as well. And we saw a quick push into the 57 again, and that's where I had my orders stacked up again. So ended up taking a quick scalp on that one on the secondary trade. It worked out pretty good. I would say This is what I think I could have done much better, was on the short below 55. I could have got much more meat on this move instead of like quickly taking a quick scalp. So this is something that I could have done better, probably caught a lot more. The momentum was still on the downside. The 55s were holding. So it was making new lows, the new bases on the upside. So 58 resistance, then 57 20-ish, and then 56 and 55. So I knew that if you draw a trend line, you could see the momentum was still on the downside. It did actually go to 53, could have caught much more. Um, but overall, the stock did bounce back, and I was just happy to hit and run, take what it gave me. A couple of other stocks that ended up being okay were Dropbox, the recent IPO. We know the dailies really had a big run and a massive pullback, massive correction, right? So this is what it's been doing. Let me show you the hourly, that it's trying to form a base around the 31 area. So it tries to dip into 31, gets bought up, tries into 31 yesterday. Give a short setup, I think yesterday I did not take it around the 31.20, sold off for a little bit. Similar setup at 31.80 the day before that on the July 10th. And today I felt like the 31s have been holding for a while, and today we could see like a good reversal. So I ended up taking a long once I felt like 31s were gonna hold, and my stop was 30.77. uh, bought the 30s and then got a good nice move up, good push into the 32, the resistance from the last few days. So I ended up taking around the 32.20s. I did want to see, I wanted to see this kind of a push into it. I've put on a few similar trades in companies in the same sector, which is Twilio, NTNX, DocuSign. So I've been trading a lot of these tech stocks, recent IPOs. So we definitely get a good push into it, and once you can get a good rip, it goes parabolic and then probably comes back around here. So I ended up getting a decent cover on it. I like the entry, have been watching for a few days, so it was a good trade overall, and I feel that it was good I did not miss out on this, because a lot was going on with the M&A activity in Avago and CA Technologies, so I ended up taking a decent one. And the final stock I want to go over is IQ. I went long overnight in IQ yesterday above the 31 area, so I ended up buying the 31.20s, added pre-market today. 32.40 was holding in the pre-market, so I ended up buying pretty early in the morning around 8 o'clock, and I had my order out right away for half of what I bought today in the 33.15 area, and for the rest of it, and it did actually bounce back pretty sharp. Had the pullback been only 50% or so, maybe I would have loved to get involved on the long side again, but I did not like this sharp pullback. Even though I ended up selling what I bought pre-market, I had my position from last night, so my stop was a little further out, just below the 30.75, right around this level. So I ended up, when it made a double top, I felt like this is a good spot I could get out, take some risk off. If it goes down again, maybe get involved, or leave the stock alone for a little bit and see what it wants to do. It did, however, ended up running to 35, missed a good 2 points. At least I should have held on to this second half, because I did get a good cover. I took some risk off, and I really like that. So missed out on a few, so got to really work on the exits. That's what I can see from today's takeaway. I ended up taking a short position because HUYA kind of, let me go back to HUYA quickly. So HUYA had a good push up, kind of failed to hold this 39, tried to go right back up, bouncing off the VWAP, but once this started failing right after 2 o'clock, this is where I put on the short position in. So right after 2 o'clock, this is where I started trying to short IQ. I could have got some more of it, but I ended up getting much more size than I wanted, which made me really uncomfortable there, because I wasn't really looking to get that much size, because I knew that my stop loss was at least above the day highs. So once it dipped, I really quickly just bought it and felt like I'll wait for a bounce. into the 75 area, which was the 2 o'clock the range. That did not give me a chance because I wanted to take the risk off. I was risking probably much more than I wanted to over there. So I ended up taking a small winner on it. The swing long worked out pretty well. So overall a decent day. Couple of things I could have done much better was the trades that we went over ZGNX, couple of points there. But I like that I've been watching Dropbox. IQ worked pretty well, and I think we're getting into the market situation where if I have a conviction about a setup, I want to take it overnight, at least for some of it, and make it a multi-day trade instead of being an overnight position. So those are my thoughts on today, guys. Thanks again for your feedback. Keep liking, sharing, subscribing, and throw in any questions you have. Thanks again, guys. This is Krishna Joshi.